one of these games can only exist. That means if out of these games, once you pick one, none of the other ones will ever be created. So you basically exist, deleting them from future existence. So Marvel vs. Capcom 4, Capcom versus SNK 3, and Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Out of these games, which one would you choose to exist, and all the other ones will never exist?
I want to take you for a ride again. So that's my answer. Marvel 4. CVS 3. I mean, yeah, CVS 3. That would be cool to see. I mean, we've already seen Tekken Cross Street Fighter. It's called Tekken 7. So Marvel vs. Capcom 4 all the way. I just hope that if it would come out, that it would not be messed up. Just please put effort into it. That's all I ask.
What? Marvel vs. Capcom? Are you serious? Come on, man. We've already had a Marvel vs. Capcom 4. It's called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, man.
That was a spinoff.
Oh, a spinoff? Oh, man. Yo, man, somebody's in denial over here, bro. Come on. Yo. Like, you know what? I'm not even gonna dwell on that. I will say Capcom versus SNK 3. It's been so long since one of those games have come out. We've had so many other games come out. I mean, when was the last time? When did Street Fighter versus Cross Tekken come out? That had been like what, like 2011, 2012, something like that. It wasn't that long ago. Marvel versus Capcom came out Infinite came out what, like a few years ago? It wasn't even that long. It didn't take it that long to die either. And then of course, you know, what was our other option? I can't even remember.
Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Tekken Cross Street Fighter, nobody wants that after Street Fighter Cross Tekken. So I would say Capcom versus SNK 3. Please make that happen. I don't even care if it's not even in like the 2D sprite version. You can put it in like, make it into like either a King of Fighters 14 mode, or make it look like Street Fighter 5. It makes no difference to me. As long as it actually happens, it would be nice to have one of those games at least to tide us over, because we haven't had one in like what, 20 years? It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. Almost every single game, every other franchise on here has gotten some kind of shine in like the last decade. Capcom versus SNK has not seen the light of day in so long. We've had to make do with Capcom versus SNK 2 for so freaking long. It was basically like when we had Marvel versus Capcom 2. People had to subsist with Marvel versus Capcom 2 for so very long before Marvel versus Capcom 3 came out. And now we had, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which was whatever, and then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and then of course, you know, I don't know, man. I'm after that, not sure if we're gonna get another one of those. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get another one either way, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about getting rid of all the other ones, never having them come into existence. I would say I'd rather have Capcom versus SNK 3 than any other game on this list.
Wow. This is gonna sound really contradictory, but out of those three, like as before I said, I never really found a Marvel. I really enjoyed playing Marvel in the arcades when I was younger, but over time I never really connected with tag combat or interests like that. I never played CBS. None of them. One or two. Well, I did play it like on an emulator years later, just try it out. But that's about it. So I would actually like to play a new Marvel game to see if it can hook me. I would like to attempt to try that because, I mean, all of us connect to Marvel characters to some degree, especially in this time period with all the movies and the media they have with Marvel. And then there are certain Street Fighter characters I still love, like Zangief and Ken. I will love them to death. Those are some of the first characters I ever connected to early on. So if Marvel 4 is the game to bring me into the Marvel fold to become a hardcore Marvel player, then I wouldn't mind bringing that back. Just as me personally. As far as Tekken Cross Street Fighter, I think we all can agree that ship is sailed. I really wanted Street Fighter Cross Tekken to work. I remember buying that game. That gym system was awful. But some of the ideas and like how they converted the Tekken combat into Street Fighter were really interesting. Like Harang and Steve and Lei Wulong later as a DLC character and Brian Fury. They were really fun to play in a 2D space. I mean, they're always fun to play generally, but in that 2D space, they did a good job of converting their fighting styles to 2D. So I really wanted to see what Harada and his team could do with the Street Fighter styles, bringing them in. Obviously, Tekken 7 has already shown us how that will work, and for the most part, I think it's integrated, interestingly enough. But I don't think the hype is there anymore. Like, I don't think there's as much interest there as it would be with a CVS3 or a Marvel 4. And personally, I think Take Cross Street Fighter would be better off just transitioning that out and get ready for Tekken Tag 3. But that's just me personally.
I just want to say that CVS 3 is already made. It was called SVC Chaos, and Tekken 7 is the new Capcom versus SNK because you got Geese in there and Street Fighter characters. So there you go.
I would like to say that like no matter what anybody says, like let's be honest, man. Like that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that was Marvel vs. Capcom 4, bro. Like you can deny it as much as you like, but we've already got Marvel vs. Capcom 4. It's time to let it go, guys. It's time to let it go. By the way, Keem, yo, man, all those characters you love from Street Fighter are going to be in Capcom versus SNK anyway. What do you need Marvel vs. Capcom for? They're going to be in Capcom versus SNK 3. You get them anyway. You don't need Marvel versus Capcom.
They're going to be water in Capcom versus SNK, man.
Just play Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That'll be a great entry into the Marvel vs. Capcom universe. You'll be fine. Play with 2 or 3, you'll be just fine. And then just sit there and be like, you know what? That was great. And then wait for Capcom vs. SNK 3. You'll be just fine, man. I promise.
But will it take us for a ride?
Everybody who bought Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite got took for a ride. You want to go on that kind of ride? Huh? Is that the ride you want to go on? Huh?
No, I don't think I want that ride. No ride for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Next topic.